Hey y'all, this is Keisha from Lorraine's Treats and Things. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and share my video, please. I would really appreciate it. Today I'll be fixing some smothered pork chops. These are center cut pork chops. They are very, very thin. You see my ingredients I'll be using today because I will be making some gravy because what? It's smothered pork chops. I'm just using some seasoned salt and black pepper on these pork chops today because that's what I have a taste for. You know, you can use Creole seasoning, you can use garlic powder, onion powder, Miss Dash. You can use anything that you want on your pork chops. But today, I just want something simple and to the point. So this is why I'm just using these two ingredients. It might look like a lot of seasoning, but it's not. So don't be tripping, okay? Yep, just rub it in real good, so you can get every little corner because that's the way that I like to do. I don't like to just pour seasoning on and then just put it in the flour. And another thing, I don't season my flour. I just never have. I don't see why I have to double season it, but you can't tell anyway because the season's so good you can't tell. And then when you can use a paper bag, a plastic bag, anything. And when I put it in, if I'm using a bowl like this, I would like to just put a little flour on the pork chops, not really flour it, but so when I put the other pork chop in there, it doesn't stick to the other one, because it don't have flour or whatever. And then, I'm gonna put my top on here in just a little bit, and I'm going to shake, rattle, and roll. Okay. So they can be evenly coated. Make sure your pork chops are evenly coated, you guys. You can use anything you want to flour your pork chops. Excuse me, y'all, if I talk fast and ramble on. That's just the way that I talk, y'all. But yeah, so I'm just shaking these really, really good, and I'm frying them. Make sure your grease is really hot. A way to test your grease is to put like a little flour in the grease, and if it sizzles like really fast and seizes up, then you know your grease is ready. Do not put water in your grease, you guys. It's very dangerous. You should not put water on grease like that. Okay. So these are frying up beautifully. I do like thin pork chops too because I don't know, I just like the crunch or whatever. A lot of people smother their pork chops and they fry them up and then they put the pork chops in a pot full of water and make their gravy like that. My family is originally from Texas. I was born in California. My mom and my grandmother, my mother was too. My grandmother's from Texas though. And so on and so forth. But they probably did theirs like that too. But me personally, I like for my pork chop to still have crispiness to it when I put gravy on it. So that's why I don't smother them like in a whole pot of water and all this stuff. I don't do that. But if that's what you want to do, you go right ahead and do that. But this is the way that I do my gravy, sauteing these onions and all that stuff on the bottom of the pan, the fond. So if you have enough on that, you do not need to use what is it? A slurry. What a slurry is with flour and water. You use like a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of flour, and you put maybe 1/4 cup of water in there. You beat it up really, really good till all the flour is dissolved. Then you pour that inside of your skillet with your gravy. So therefore, the flour is already broken up, and you don't have to really cook it out. You understand what I'm saying? So here's my beef bouillon cube. But as you can see, it was hard for me to break up. So I had to go put it in some water and dissolve it a little bit and then bring it back. And this is my slurry right here. Like I was saying about the fond. The fond is all the little bits on the bottom of the skillet when you finish frying your food. And you pour all that grease off and that stuff that's left. That's called fond. Now, if you have enough of that on the bottom, you do not have to use a slurry because that's already going to be thick enough for you to make a gravy. So I haven't, as so far right here, I did not use the slurry yet. I just added water, but eventually I probably will use the slurry because if you want to stretch your gravy, instead of just adding water, you can add the slurry, which is the flour and water, so that you can stretch your gravy more. And if it's thick enough, you can just add water. So since I didn't use the slurry, later on in this video you will see you will see the consistency of the gravy, and then you will know that I eventually use a slurry because I didn't have enough gravy for my little 4 pork chops. Yeah. So yeah, so that was Mrs. Dash. That was what was that? Dried onion. And I did use some what's that, chicken bouillon cube as well. I did use a little of that, but you didn't see that in the video. And yes, I like to keep things real simple and easy because that's what I like. Yeah, you just stir this around. You bring your temperature up. You bring it to a boil, and then you lower the temperature so the gravy can cook like this. Now this gravy is done, as you can see, because it's nappe, meaning it coats the back of the spoon. So if you stuck it in there and you wipe the back of your spoon and it comes off clean, you know that gravy is done. And also, you see how I'm moving this around the skillet, and you can see the bottom of the skillet, you know that gravy is done. Same thing if you're making a sauce. The same exact thing, but this is not enough for me. So then, this is just water. But I did use a little slurry with this though, because I wanted it to be more thicker. You couldn't see this in the video, but I did. So, it didn't need it because if you bring this back up to a temperature, to a boil, and lower it, it's still going to thicken back up because it already has flour in it. Well, it has the flour from the pork chops that's in the bottom of the pan, but I did add a slurry because I was impatient and I didn't want to wait. So if you add the slurry, it'll cook a little faster. This way right here is just going to take a little longer, but it shouldn't take a long time, but you know, see, it's getting there. You can see how it lightened up, so you know that I used a slurry because it was white, it had that flour in there. So it lightened up a little bit. And it's going to thicken up. It's thickening up already. You see that? It looks good, though. It looks very delicious. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, just keep stirring because, you know, the parts on the bottom of the skillet, you want that to be incorporated in there. And it actually makes the gravy thicken up better. So don't just leave it there and just go do something else and then, no, don't do that. See this? You see how it gets on the sides of the skillet? And then you scrape all that stuff off. You know, not the skillet, but, you know, this is perfect. This is done. As you can see the bottom of the skillet. When I move it around, you can see the bottom of the skillet. So you know this is, nappe is coated very well. This is a consistency that a sauce or a gravy should be. Now, if you like real thick gravy, put more flour. But me, personally, this is a consistency that I like. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's pretty. It's shining. Look at that. The color is right. I like this. You can make gravy so many different ways, you guys. You just have to play with it and see what you like. You know, because gravy is a hit and miss. You can mess it up real easy, too. Because it's so simple, you can really mess it up. You really can. And so I didn't really put no seasoning in this. I mean, no salt. I only put a little seasoned salt because, you know, the pork chops was already seasoned really good. So I didn't need, like, a whole bunch of, like, salt content. And, you know, those bouillon cubes and that Maggi has salt in it, too. So, yeah. But, yeah, I'm just coating it up, you know. And as you can see, this is still crunchy, like a fried pork chop, but it also have the gravy on it. That's the way I like it. It's so much better to me than just a whole smothered, like I could have just baked the pork chop. You know what I'm saying? Look at that. Oh, oh, oh. Look at that, y'all. Thanks for watching.